Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at something pretty remarkable. Feels a bit like sci-fi, but it's happening now.
It really does.
We're unpacking the story of the world's first baby born using a completely automated ICSI system, digitally controlled. Now, for those of you tracking key science and tech advances, maybe for exams like the UPSC, this one's definitely significant.
Absolutely. And our source for this deep dive is a report in New Scientists. It details this really impressive collaboration between Conceivable Life Sciences in New York and a team down in Guadalajara, Mexico. Names like Dr. Jacques Cohen, Dr. Alejandro Chavez Badiola, Professor Gerardo Mendizabal Ruiz leading the charge. And the actual procedure happened at Hope IVF Mexico in Guadalajara, all under review board oversight, of course.
Let's just quickly set the stage. ICSI, intracytoplasmic sperm injection. For anyone maybe less familiar, it's a cornerstone of assisted reproduction, right? Came about in the 90s.
That's right. A routine method now. Vital for many people.
And it usually involves, a highly skilled embryologist taking a single sperm and injecting it directly into an egg. Very hands-on, delicate work.
Extremely delicate, which is exactly why automating it is such a huge deal. So our mission today, you could say, is to get under the hood of this automated system.
Understand what it really offers.
Yeah, what are the potential upsides? And, what could this mean for IVF down the road?
All right, let's dive right in then. The innovation itself. What makes this automated ICSI system different? What's the core change?
The really striking thing is just how comprehensive it is. We're not talking automation of like 1 or 2 bits.
Clark?
This system automates all 23 steps of the standard ICSI procedure.
23, wow. Okay.
Every single one. The whole process, start to finish, managed by the machine. And each step can be controlled either by AI independently or remotely by a human operator using a digital interface.
That is a massive departure from how it's done now, isn't it? Which is all about that human skill, that manual dexterity.
Totally different. It's quite something. Imagining those micro manipulations being done purely by tech.
Real paradigm shift, as they say.
It is. And Dr. Cohen, he points out several potential advantages here. Big ones.
Like what?
Things like enhanced precision. You'd expect that from a machine, maybe. Improved efficiency, too.
Makes sense.
And crucially, potentially more consistent outcomes. Reducing that variability you inevitably get with different human operators.
Consistency.
Yeah.
That seems key in something like IVF.
It really is. For anyone looking into these treatments, knowing there's less variability could be, very reassuring.
You'd think a machine doing the same task over and over would be incredibly consistent. Any other benefits mentioned?
Yeah, Dr. Cohen also flags potentially less work-related stress for the embryologists themselves, which is, important for the lab environment.
Good point.
And then there are these other intriguing possibilities, maybe improved egg survival and potentially optimizing the timing of the injection.
How so? Optimizing the time?
Well, the idea is that maybe the system can perform the injection at the absolute optimal moment, perhaps minimizing stress or damage to the egg. Greater precision could mean, healthier embryos, better development potential.
Which could ultimately mean better chances of success.
Potentially, yes. That's the hope.
Okay, let's talk about the AI component. It sounds like it's doing more than just following orders.
Oh, definitely. The AI is pretty central to some really critical parts. The New Scientist report says it was used to precisely position the sperm cell in the injection pipette. That's tricky work. But maybe even more impressive, the AI actually directed the microinjection itself, controlling how it enters the egg.
So the AI is actually making decisions during the procedure, not just executing a preset program.
It seems that way. And Professor Mendizabal Ruiz had this quote. He said the system autonomously selects sperm and precisely immobilizes its midsection with a laser ready for injection, executing this rapid, precise process with a level of accuracy beyond human capability.
Beyond human capability. That really jumps out.
It does, doesn't it? It highlights just how sophisticated this AI is becoming. And for, say, UPSC aspirants, those terms, autonomous selection, precision beyond human capability, those are key concepts when discussing AI in critical applications like healthcare.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've got the what and some why. Let's get to the how, the actual case that led to this first birth.
Right, the specific case. It involved a 40-year-old woman. She was undergoing treatment with donor eggs at the clinic in Guadalajara, Hope IVF, Mexico.
Okay.
And it's worth mentioning she'd had a previous IVF attempt that unfortunately wasn't successful. Only got one mature egg and no embryos developed from it.
So potentially a more challenging situation to start with?
It might suggest that yes,
Mhm.
which makes the success here perhaps even more significant.
So what happened in this specific cycle with the new automated system?
Well, they took the eggs, retrieved donor eggs in this case, and assigned 5 of them to be fertilized using the automated ICSI system. And then, as a direct comparison, 3 other eggs were fertilized using the standard manual ICSI method. That's the control group.
Right, to see how they compare. And I think you mentioned a remote aspect. This wasn't all just happening in one room.
That's another really fascinating layer. The machine, the hardware, was in Guadalajara,
Uh-huh.
but the commands for every single one of those 23 microinjection steps for each of the 5 eggs,
Yeah.
they were actually sent remotely. Operators in Guadalajara and in New York were issuing commands via this digital interface.
From New York. Wow.
Yeah, something like 115 individual commands sent digitally across that distance. It really shows the digitally controlled part in action. And it hints at, possibilities for remote expertise, standardizing quality across labs.
That's incredible, controlling that delicate process from thousands of kilometers away.
Yeah.
What about the time it took? Was the robot faster, slower?
Okay, so the average time per egg for the automated ICSI was 9 minutes and 56 seconds.
Almost 10 minutes per egg. How does that stack up?
Professor Mendizabal Ruiz actually noted it was a bit longer than a typical manual ICSI procedure.
Oh, really? Why?
Mainly because it was the first time, an experimental setup. They were being super meticulous, collecting lots of data. They fully expect that time to come down significantly as they refine the system.
Okay, so longer for now, but expected to get faster. Makes sense. What about the results that really matter? Fertilization. How did the automated system do there?
Pretty well, actually. 4 out of the 5 eggs that went through the automated process fertilized normally.
4 out of 5, okay.
Yeah.
Manual ones.
All 3 in the manual control group also fertilized successfully.
So comparable results in this small group.
Exactly. It suggests the automated system, even at this early stage, is effective at achieving fertilization, comparable to the standard method.
And that fertilization obviously led to the big news, the successful birth.
That's right. From the automated group, one high-quality embryo developed all the way to the blastocyst stage in the lab. Remember, this was an embryo created using the system controlled remotely from New York, about 3,700 kilometers away.
Amazing.
And for those studying for UPSC, reaching the blastocyst stage around day 5 or 6, that's a really key milestone indicating good developmental potential for an embryo.
Right.
So this blastocyst was then vitrified, that's the ultra-rapid freezing method thawed later, transferred to the patient, and it resulted in a successful pregnancy and ultimately the birth of a healthy baby boy.
A healthy baby, that's the validation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Dr. Chavez Badiola seemed to really emphasize the significance of this achievement. What was his take?
Yeah, he really stressed that this system goes way beyond previous attempts at automation in IVF.
How so?
He highlighted that this is the first system to automate every single step of the microinjection procedure. And crucially, that includes the stuff before the injection itself, the sperm handling, the selection, which the AI is doing.
So it's not just the robot arm doing the injecting, it's the whole workflow leading up to it.
Exactly, the entire sequence. And he believes this live birth is, well, critical proof. It validates the whole approach as a major step towards, potentially, a fully automated IVF lab someday.
Full automation. That's quite a thought.
It has huge implications for standardizing the process, maybe making it more accessible.
And automation isn't entirely new to the IVF lab, is it? We're seeing it pop up in other areas, too.
That's a good point. The New Scientist report mentions this, too. Automation is already used in things like embryo culture incubators, with time-lapse imaging, AI monitoring development.
Right, I've heard about that.
And also in cryo storage systems for freezing eggs, sperm, embryos. Even some aspects of sperm assessment and preparation are becoming more automated.
So this automated ICSI fits into a broader trend.
It really does. It feels like a logical, albeit very significant next step in that trend towards more technology and automation in reproductive medicine.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Key takeaway. First baby born using a completely automated ICSI system.
Check.
It automates all 23 steps, promising maybe better precision, efficiency, consistency.
Right, potential benefits.
AI is crucial for selecting sperm, guiding the injection,
Okay.
and this birth is the big validation proof point.
Couldn't have put it better. And for individuals looking at IVF, the implication is, well, hope for potentially improved success rates, maybe more standardized, reliable experience across the board.
And for UPSC aspirants, again, you can see the angles here, healthcare access, equity questions if this tech spreads?
Definitely major policy and societal dimensions to consider down the line.
What's next for this tech? Where does it go from here?
Well, the report is clear. More studies are needed, bigger groups of patients to really confirm the safety, confirm the effectiveness before anyone talks about rolling it out widely.
So watch this space for more data.
Absolutely. Rigorous validation is key.
You know, it really makes you think, doesn't it? This increasing role of AI, of automation, in processes that are so fundamentally human, so personal.
It does. It raises some big questions. As these technologies keep getting better, keep integrating more deeply into things like making babies, what are the wider ethical lines? The societal shifts we need to grapple with.
That's definitely a thought to ponder. And for everyone preparing for the civil services exam, this development, detailed in that New Scientist report, hits right at the intersection of science and tech, healthcare innovation, ethics, all core relevant topics. Understanding these nuances is crucial for current affairs.
Couldn't agree more. Staying on top of these advancements is vital.
Well, that brings us to the end of this deep dive into the first automated ICSI baby, based on the reporting in New Scientist. If you found this breakdown useful, especially perhaps for your UPSC prep, do give us a like, subscribe to the deep dive.
Yeah, and drop a comment below. Any questions or your own thoughts on this tech, we'd love to hear them.
We always appreciate the engagement. Until next deep dive.